Welcome, in this video we will learn more about 50 Cent. Like, subscribe and share. Curtis James Jackson III, known professionally as 50 Cent, is an American rapper, actor, producer, and entrepreneur. Born in the South Jamaica neighborhood of the borough of Queens, Jackson began selling drugs at age 12 during the 1980s crack epidemic. He later began pursuing a musical career, and in 2000 he produced Power of the Dollar for Columbia Records, but days before the planned release he was shot and the album was never released. In 2002, after Jackson released the compilation album Guess Who's Back, he was discovered by Eminem and signed to Shady Records, under the aegis of Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment and Interscope Records. Jackson recalled the shooting, "It happened so fast that you don't even get a chance to shoot back. I was scared the whole time. I was looking in the rear view mirror like, oh shit, somebody shot me in the face. It burns, burns, burns." In his autobiography, From Pieces to Weight, Once Upon a Time in Southside Queens, he wrote, "After I got shot 9 times at close range and didn't die, I started to think that I must have a purpose in life. How much more damage could that shell have done? Give me an inch in this direction or that one, and I'm gone." Jackson used a walker for 6 weeks and fully recovered after 5 months. When he left the hospital he stayed in the Poconos with his girlfriend and son, and his workout regime helped him develop a muscular physique. In the hospital Jackson signed a publishing deal with Columbia Records before he was dropped from the label and blacklisted by the recording industry because of his song, Ghetto Koran. Unable to work in a U.S. studio, he went to Canada. With business partner Shaw Money XL, Jackson recorded over 30 songs for mixtapes to build a reputation. In a Hit Quarters interview, Mark LaBelle of Shady Records A&R said that Jackson used the mixtape circuit to his advantage. He took all the hottest beats from every artist and flipped them with better hooks. They then got into all the markets on the mixtapes and all the mixtape DJs were messing with them. Jackson's popularity increased, and in 2002 he released the mixtape Guess Who's Back? He then released 50 Cent as the Future backed by G-Unit, a mixtape revisiting material by Jay-Z and Raphael Saadiq. In 2002, Eminem heard Jackson's Guess Who's Back? CD, received from Jackson's attorney. Impressed, Eminem invited Jackson to fly to Los Angeles and introduced him to Dr. Dre. After signing a $1 million record deal, Jackson released No Mercy, No Fear. The mixtape featured one new track, Wangsta, which appeared on Eminem's 8 Mile soundtrack. Jackson was also signed by Chris Lighty's Violator Management and Shaw Money XL's Money Management Group. Jackson released his debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', in February 2003. Rolling Stone noted its dark synth grooves, buzzy keyboards and a persistently funky bounce, with Jackson complimenting the production in an unflappable, laid-back flow. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, selling 872,000 copies in its first 4 days. The lead single, In Da Club, set a Billboard record as the most listened to song in radio history within a week. Interscope gave Jackson his own label, G-Unit Records, in 2003. He signed Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo and Young Buck as members of G-Unit, and the Game was later signed in a joint venture with Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment. In March 2005 Jackson's second commercial album, The Massacre, sold 1.14 million copies in its first 4 days and was number 1 on the Billboard 200 for 6 weeks. He was the first solo artist with 3 singles in the Billboard Top 5 in the same week, with Candy Shop, Disco Inferno, and How We Do. According to Rolling Stone, 50's secret weapon is his singing voice, the deceptively amateur-sounding tenor croon that he deploys on almost every chorus. After the Game's departure, Jackson signed Olivia and rap veterans Mobb Deep to G-Unit Records, with Spider Lock, M.O.P., 40 Glock and Young Hot Rod later joining the label, who all eventually departed the label. Jackson expressed an interest in working with rappers other than G-Unit, such as Lil Scrappy of BME, LL Cool J of Def Jam, Maze of Bad Boy and Freeway of Rock A Fella, and recorded with several. In September 2007, Jackson released his third album, Curtis, which was inspired by his life before Get Rich or Die Tryin'. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 691,000 copies during its first week. On the September 10, 2008 episode of Total Request Live, Jackson said his fourth studio album, Before I Self-Destruct, would be done and released in November. He released OK, You're Right, produced by Dr. Dre for Before I Self-Destruct, on May 18, 2009 and was scheduled to appear in a fall 2009 episode of VH1's Behind the Music. On September 3, 2009, Jackson posted a video for the Soundkillers Phoenix-produced track, Flight 187, introducing his mixtape and book. The song, with lyrics inspiring speculation about tension between Jackson and Jay-Z, was a bonus track on the iTunes version of Before I Self-Destruct. Before I Self-Destruct was released on November 9, 2009. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Please subscribe. With the aid of Eminem and Dr. Dre, Jackson became one of the world's best-selling rappers and rose to prominence with East Coast hip-hop group G-Unit. In 2003, he founded G-Unit Records, signing his G-Unit associates Young Buck, Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo. Jackson had similar commercial and critical success with his second album, The Massacre, which was released in 2005. He released his fifth studio album, Animal Ambition, in 2014 and as of 2019 is working on his sixth studio album, Street King Immortal. He executive produces and stars in the show Power, which airs on Stars. During his career, Jackson has sold over 30 million albums worldwide and won several awards, including a Grammy Award, 13 Billboard Music Awards, 6 World Music Awards, 3 American Music Awards and 4 BET Awards. He has pursued an acting career, appearing in the semi-autobiographical film Get Rich or Die Tryin', the Iraq War film Home of the Brave and Righteous Kill. 50 Cent was ranked the 6th best artist of the 2000s and the 3rd best rapper by Billboard. Rolling Stone consider Get Rich or Die Tryin' and In Da Club to be in their lists of 100 best albums of the 2000s and 100 best songs of the 2000s at numbers 37 and 13 respectively. Jackson was born in the borough of Queens, New York City, and raised in its South Jamaica neighborhood by his mother, Sabrina. A drug dealer, Sabrina raised Jackson until she died in a mysterious fire when Jackson was 8. After his mother's death and his father's departure, Jackson was raised by his grandmother. He began boxing at about age 11, and when he was 14 a neighbor opened a boxing gym for local youth. When I wasn't killing time in school, I was sparring in the gym or selling crack on the strip, Jackson remembered. I was competitive in the ring and hip-hop is competitive too. I think rappers condition themselves like boxers, so they all kind of feel like they're the champ. At age 12, Jackson began dealing narcotics when his grandparents thought he was in after-school programs and brought guns and drug money to school. In the 10th grade, he was caught by metal detectors at Andrew Jackson High School. I was embarrassed that I got arrested like that. After I got arrested I stopped hiding it. I was telling my grandmother, I sell drugs. On June 29, 1994, Jackson was arrested for selling 4 vials of cocaine to an undercover police officer. He was arrested again 3 weeks later, when police searched his home and found heroin, 10 ounces of crack cocaine and a starting pistol. Although Jackson was sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison, he served 6 months in a boot camp and earned his GED. He has said that he did not use cocaine himself. Jackson adopted the nickname 50 Cent as a metaphor for change. The name was inspired by Kelvin Martin, a 1980s Brooklyn robber known as 50 Cent. Jackson chose it because it says everything I want it to say. I'm the same kind of person 50 Cent was. I provide for myself by any means. Jackson began rapping in a friend's basement, where he used turntables to record over instrumentals. In 1996 a friend introduced him to Jam Master Jay of Run DMC, who was establishing Jam Master Jay Records. Jay taught him how to count bars, write choruses, structure songs and make records. Jackson's first appearance was on React with Onyx for their 1998 album Shut 'Em Down. He credited Jam Master Jay for improving his ability to write hooks, and Jay produced Jackson's first album. In 1999, after Jackson left Jam Master Jay, the platinum-selling producers Trackmasters signed him to Columbia Records. They sent him to an upstate New York studio, where he produced 36 songs in 2 weeks. 18 were included on his 2000 album, Power of the Dollar. Jackson founded Hollow Point Entertainment with former G-Unit member Bang'em Smurf. Jackson's popularity began to grow after the successful, controversial underground single, How to Rob, which he wrote in a half-hour car ride to a studio. The track comically describes how he would rob famous artists. Jackson explained the song's rationale: "There's 100 artists on that label, you gotta separate yourself from that group and make yourself relevant." Rappers Jay-Z, Corrupt, Sticky Fingers, Big Pun, DMX, Wyclef Jean and the Wu-Tang Clan responded to the track, and Nas invited Jackson to join him on his Nostradamus tour. Although How to Rob was intended to be released with Thug Love 2 days before he was scheduled to film the Thug Love music video, Jackson was shot and hospitalized. On May 24, 2000, Jackson was attacked by a gunman outside his grandmother's former home in South Jamaica. After getting into a friend's car, he was asked to return to the house to get some jewelry. His son was in the house, and his grandmother was in the front yard. Jackson returned to the back seat of the car, and another car pulled up nearby. An assailant walked up and fired 9 shots at close range with a 9mm handgun. Jackson was shot in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and left cheek. His facial wound resulted in a swollen tongue, the loss of a wisdom tooth and a slightly slurred voice. His friend was wounded in the hand. They were driven to a hospital, where Jackson spent 13 days. The alleged attacker, Darryl Baum, Mike Tyson's close friend and bodyguard, was killed 3 weeks later.